In this video, we open a pull request to the Lux Julia package to correct a typo in the documentation. You do not need to be an experienced Julia software developer to follow this video. I'll be partially following Catherine's guide on making a first pull request to Julia. I am on Fedora Workstation 40, a Linux distribution operating system. We do not have permission to write to the lux.jl repository because we are not one of its maintainers. For me to contribute to Lux, then I need to first create a copy of Lux into my GitHub account. Lux should be present in my repositories, for which only I have access and permission to write. This is called forking a repository to my account. To fork a repository, simply click on Fork and make sure you enter the name you want over here. I will be later creating my own branches, so I just copy the main branch only and click Create Fork. After forking process as complete, you can clone it by clicking Code. I use SSH copy. Then go to your terminal and clone the forked repository. The typo we want to fix today can be found by going to Docs Latest and API, built-in layers. I have an issue with the conv and other functions because there is a keyword argument here called allow fast activation, but it is not present in this part. Usually Julia documentations are built using documenter.jl, which means that you can easily find where in the source code this documentation called docstrings is located. So click on this and it will tell you that it's in source layers conv.jl. So we have the location of this file that we want to modify. Go here. This is we're currently in the Lux home folder, the repository root folder. Launch VS Code. We can look for it by going source layers. Okay. So that looks like the spot that we want to modify. It is good software development practice to create a development branch where the source code changes and leave the main or master branch as it is. Let's create a new branch before changing the source code. We created a new GitHub branch, rw docstring _ typos. Open up VS Code. Now we'll add the keyword, but we need a default type. That's a structure, that's a constructor. And the constructor has a default value for this keyword to be true, a boolean. Copy that, remove the type annotation here, because there is no other type annotations for the docstring. There are similar problems with other functions as well. For example, cross correlation. They also have a allow fast activation, and it's also default to true, but it was not in the docstring. Another one is conv transpose. Now notice that if I simply put it here, it would be extended beyond the margins of this code style. So that's why I put it on the next line. To figure out what style a repository is using, you should go to their main page, and usually there is some indication of what kind of style they're using. In this case, they're using something called SciML. Click that, and make sure you read that before you contribute to their repository. I think that's about it for this file over here. We'll save it, close. We just added the file that we modified. Now we commit with a message. Make sure that it's there. One minute ago. Yeah, so it's successfully pushed over here. But now this is our repository. We want to create a pull request to the Lux repository. Click on the Compare and Pull Request button. That's what Catherine did as well. We can see the proposed changes and write some comments about what we did. And we really just have to wait for the maintainers of lux.jl to review our pull request. This is the comment that I wrote. Missing keyword in docstring. And this link over here is basically where the problem is. This is a docstring. This entire thing is a docstring, but you have a keyword that's missing in the summary over here. And over here, now you don't have to be as detailed, I guess, with what I wrote here, because someone can easily just see these are the only changes I made to the docstring. Make sure you click this if you want the maintainers to be able to come in here and do additional edits. Click Create Pull Request. And now we just have to wait. For some packages, they have workflows or tests that they would automatically run against submitted pull requests. A few minutes later, the maintainer, Avik, he approved my pull request. Usually people do not respond this quickly. I find that certain packages in Julia, especially the ones that are critical to SciML, they tend to be very responsive if you write a small pull request with a very clear description of what you're doing. You write a pull request that is very easy to understand, small changes, and you work your way up until you understand a code base very well, and you have discussions with the maintainer before you do something huge. There's nothing more demoralizing to you spending a lot of your own time to make changes to a repository than the maintainers block it because they don't agree with what you did. So you should ask before you make a huge change. So if you ever want to see how your pull request is doing, you could go to closed. And right now that is mine, so you can check the status. And it's been successfully merged and closed. So in the next release of Lux, you should be able to see this change. Now in my case, I'm ready to delete Lux, this fork. Yeah, so I would just go down to danger zone and delete the repository altogether, because currently I do not have any more changes I wish to propose, and I rather keep my personal repositories clean. Now I deleted Lux, but that no longer affects the pull request made here, because even though I deleted my branch, this commit is now present in the official Lux repository. You see, it wasn't a lot of work to create a pull request for a simple documentation change. I hope this encourages more people to contribute to open source software documentation. You do not need to be a software developer to improve the documentation. You just have to be willing to read the style guides and invest in a few minutes of your time.